let's keep discussing negotiated syllabuses. And now we're going to see negotiating assessment. Right. Before we begin, I would just like you to have a quick look at some of the questions listed here and see how you form your opinion before I proceed with the discussion on negotiating assessment. Right. How can assessment criteria be negotiated with students? Once you have thought through this question, now think about the second one. What's the significance of negotiating assessment with students? You could pause the video for a while and think about this question. And thirdly, how would you incorporate negotiated assessment in your own teaching practice? Right. So once you have thought through these questions, it will be much easier to relate your opinion or your own understanding of negotiating assessment topic to the discussion done in this topic. Right. There are various factors involved in negotiating assessment. Right. So we'll have a quick look at these factors and we'll see how they are insightful for teachers to incorporate the element of negotiation of assessment. Right. So what's the purpose of negotiating assessment? Why we focus on this element of curriculum design? Simply because it helps students better understand the goals of the course or the goals of a language program. And secondly, it paves the ways to achieve those goals in an efficient and collaborative manner. I mean, it helps both teacher and students to become a responsible party and negotiate some of the procedures which will be covered throughout a particular language program. So there are various factors which could, influence the negotiating assessment process. And I personally believe that these factors are very insightful in terms of enhancing teachers' understanding of this element. And, much of the discussion on this topic is coming from Nation and McAllister book, The Second Language Curriculum Design. Right. So this element makes students become aware of the goals, the criteria according to which their coursework will be judged. So, in other words, it paves the way to become more proficient, learners and more responsible learners. And secondly, it lays emphasis on, understanding what has been achieved in a particular language program. And thirdly, feedback is important since, the assessment, when it's being negotiated between students and teachers, students naturally feel empowered. And I do like this idea of negotiating assessment with my students. For example, while I was teaching one of the courses at a university recently, I just invited students to come and think about the, assessment criteria and see what they understand by grade descriptors and how their grades will be awarded and how they will understand, finally decode the grade. So this is very much important to bring in students into this element of curriculum design. Right. If we involve students into this process of understanding and making explicit the statements of the assessment criteria, so it can have obviously positive effects on their language learning skills, because they will become more aware of what's going on, how they will be judged, and what grades will be helpful for them to pass a particular course. So, and there is a an important question. And I think this question suits to our teaching context, I mean the Pakistani context in our state-run schools and colleges, where we have imposed syllabus, where we have imposed curriculum coming from federal boards, coming from Higher Education Commission. So how come the teachers can negotiate assessment with their students? Well, if it's not possible, since the students are supposed to appear in final term exams, I mean annual exams and annual systems, so since it's not possible, so what we can do as language teachers working within this kind of environment, we can negotiate, we can invite students to negotiate small learning tasks and exercises followed by those tasks. This is very important. The exercises, the units, according to which their coursework will be judged at school and college level. So this becomes an internal assessment which can be incorporated by language teachers.